A somber moment in Canadian politics today as Erin O'Toole's 2020 persona has died. True blue conservatism was put to rest today when Erin O'Toole basically threatened that any dissent from his platform and endorsement of the Liberals' carbon tax is ground for expulsion. Now, there is slight difference there. Erin O'Toole is quite clearly against the Trudeau carbon tax, but is in favor of a carbon pricing scheme, which is, as you know, a carbon tax. People dumb enough to believe this are the Liberal voters and supporters who believed Trudeau when he said that you will be making money off of the carbon tax. These are two equally, let's say, sanguine points that O'Toole's taxing of carbon or putting a price on carbon is just like Trudeau's carbon tax, which he even claimed wasn't a carbon tax. It was just putting a price on pollution. So this is the new Conservative Party. If you are not in favor of Erin O'Toole on every single issue, you will be booted. He did say this. He said he put forward his plan. Any dissent from that plan will result in expulsion from the party. The Erin O'Toole who promised free votes on issues, that man has died. This is the man who excoriated Peter MacKay for calling the pro-life part an albatross on the party. Erin O'Toole did some histrionics, pretended to care about the pro-life community. That is now grounds for expulsion. Another thing that could get you kicked out, opposing mandatory vaccine passports. This is also grounds for expulsion. See Jonas Smith. So you cannot be in favor of repealing the carbon tax, expelled. You cannot be in favor of vaccine choice, right? You can be my body, my choice when it comes to abortions. You cannot be my body, my choice when it comes to vaccines. These are both grounds for expulsion from the Conservative Party. What does the Conservative Party have that is conservative? I don't know, but I'm sure it's there. To be fair, Erin O'Toole is slightly to the right of Justin Trudeau. They are not exactly the same. They are slightly different. And this is the policy Erin O'Toole is putting forward. This is now the mandate from the Conservative Party. You must agree with everything in the Conservative platform or you will be kicked out. Let's try something else. I mean, you look under the foreign policy. The Conservative Party wants to create a Palestinian state which they're going to fund through the IMF. This is an insane thing to do on every single level. Will I be kicked out of the Conservative Party? Well, I'm already, I'm pre-approved for kicking out of the Conservative Party. But if someone says, hey, maybe we shouldn't be throwing billions of dollars at the IMF to keep in trust for a Palestinian state run by terrorists, maybe that's a bad idea. Will that be grounds for expulsion from the Conservative Party? I mean, there's so many things that now get us kicked out. So we have to also talk about this phony environmentalism thing, because the environmentalist movement is now dead with Erin O'Toole. Because the Trudeau carbon tax and the green energy policies have not been helping our environment. That is their key flaw. Yes, they're expensive. Yes, they're divisive. But the ultimate counter to Trudeau's green energy, to the carbon tax, is look at the numbers. You're increasing carbon emissions by doing this. Now, I've broken down 8,000 times how Kathleen Wynne's Liberal Party and Dalton McGuinty, these people are now designing the federal green energy plans. They destroyed Ontario, how they made things not only more expensive, but also less efficient and increased pollution. Because the climate stats that we're using and Justin Trudeau is relying on are bunk and nonsense. And this isn't denying climate change, right? The argument to the Liberals' climate change histrionics is, yes, there are many environmental disasters. The flaw is what the Liberals and the NDP and a lot of global governments and the IMF and all these, you want to talk about the Great Reset, World Economic Forum, super deep state, what all these people are pushing is all of our environmental problems, pollution, eutrophication, landfills, all these problems, everything that is an environmental issue, which are serious, and no one's denying those, they're all conglomerated onto one umbrella, which is climate change. Then climate change, which is an amalgamation of many different complex problems, is then being evaluated on a univariate system. So one variable, which is carbon emissions. So we have a metadata that creates an amalgamation of many complex systems. Those complex systems are then being measured on a single variable, which is carbon emissions. And this is the climate change plan, and this is how we evaluate this is the Paris targets, is our emission steps, and it's all based on that. The counter to that is bunk, phony science, is when you amalgamate many different complex systems into one, you have very big problems because a solution that would work on eutrophication might not work on landfills and all this. You have to break these problems down individually and solve them individually. That will then make the environmental problems better. The problem with what you are doing is you are not, when you combine many complicated systems, simplify it down into one single variable, carbon emissions, use that as your measurement, you're not making anything better. This is why Donald Trump was the only one to reduce carbon emissions, right, and meet the Paris standards by getting out of the Paris standards. Because a lot of the Paris standards and these environmentalist platforms don't do anything good for the environment. They're just ways for political insiders to funnel money to major corporations and their donors and make you feel like you've done something. That's the counter-argument. But this argument of, listen, the liberal green energy plans are bad for the environment and they increase the cost of living and, take people's jobs away and kill pipelines. This is now blasphemy under Erin O'Toole's Conservative Party. That's ridiculous. And the true blue conservative Erin O'Toole that was dancing around last year, well, that man is dead. That man is no longer with us. And if only I knew a fast-talking, slightly obnoxious political commentator who warned us all of this at the start of 2020. Oh, I would really subscribe to his YouTube channel and the National Telegraph and everything else he does. If such a man were to exist, I think you should click the like and subscribe button on this video then. All right. We'll see if we get a Conservative Party next time around, Canada.